Real-life drug baron Frank Lucas inspired the 2007 film American Gangster with his heroin business in the late 60s. Ridley Scott directed the crime drama, with Denzel Washington playing a semi-fictionalized version of Frank Lucas. The film follows Lucas' drug business, where he sold heroin as blue magic and was convicted in 1976 for drug trafficking, with his methods including smuggling drugs into the country in the coffins of dead Vietnam soldiers. He was sentenced to 70 years in prison but became an informant and was placed in the Witness Protection Program with his family. The drug-themed movie took some creative liberties, changing some of the story to make American Gangster more interesting. Frank Lucas himself has clarified that much of the movie was not accurate to what happened. The DEA even sued Universal, calling the agency's portrayal demoralizing. However, the film received mostly positive reviews and was nominated for 2 Academy Awards. With the film's continued popularity years later, many have wondered what happened to Frank Lucas after American Gangster premiered and if he's still alive today. Frank Lucas died in 2019. The real drug kingpin who inspired American Gangster passed away aged 88. Frank Lucas passed away in 2019 of natural causes, 12 years after Denzel Washington brought the story of his life to the big screen in American Gangster. Rolling Stone reported his death at 88 years old after Lucas' nephew Aldwan Lassiter confirmed it. In his remaining years, the drug dealer was in a wheelchair as he broke both legs in a car accident. While Lucas avoided the 70 years in prison he was initially sentenced to, he was caught selling heroin in 1984 and served 7. As American Gangster shows, Lucas' wife, Juliana Farrate, stood by his side and even played a role in his drug dealing. What happened to Frank Lucas' wife after prison? Juliana Farrate had just as turbulent a story as Frank Lucas. Frank Lucas sitting with his wife and baby. Juliana Farrate was the inspiration for Eva in American Gangster, played by Lamari Nadal, and was an integral part of Frank Lucas' drug business. She also faced jail time for drug dealing, and in 2010 was arrested in Puerto Rico for trying to sell cocaine. Farrate was convicted for her involvement in her husband's crimes and spent 5 years in prison. When she was released, the couple spent some time apart, and Farrate even moved back to Puerto Rico. However, they ultimately reunited later on. Since Lucas' death, Farrate has stayed out of the media and lived a very private life. There have been no updates on her or whether she is still alive, so it is assumed she is. Luckily, this also means she's likely to stay out of trouble and has no plans to get involved in any more drug businesses that could inspire another movie like American Gangster. Frank Lucas' life and crimes after American Gangster. Frank Lucas got another sentence after the movie's events. American Gangster's ending accurately portrays how Frank Lucas was initially sentenced to 70 years in prison even after cooperated with Richie Roberts. However, as the movie's final moments highlight, Roberts eventually became a defense attorney and represented Frank Lucas in court. Lucas' prison sentence was also reduced by 15 years, allowing him to be free in 1991. However, that did not mark the end of his criminal record. In 2012, Frank Lucas found himself in legal trouble again when he pleaded guilty to cashing a $17,000 federal disability benefit check twice. However, since the court considered his age and poor health while trying him, he was only sentenced to 5 years on probation. There are no other accounts of Frank Lucas' brush with the law between his release from prison in 1991 and his death. In 2007, he even expressed guilt and regret towards supplying heroin by saying, via LA Times, what American Gangster changes about Frank Lucas, and what it gets right. The film takes several creative liberties. Speaking up about the film's accuracy, Frank Lucas himself commented, via New York Post, that American Gangster accurately portrays only a small portion of the actual events. The Ridley Scott movie also garnered criticism from the real Richie Roberts, who did not appreciate its almost noble portrayal of Frank Lucas. Even when it comes to the film's portrayal of Bumpy Johnson's death, it inaccurately shows that he died in an appliance store. As reports suggest, Johnson actually died at Wells Restaurant on Lenox Avenue in New York City. Former DEA agents Jack Toll, Gregory Korniloff, and Luis Diaz were so discontent with the film's fictional portrayal of them and the officers in their department that they even filed a defamation lawsuit against Universal. Although the movie went on to perform well during the award season, many experts questioned how it touted itself as a biographical drama despite portraying several fictionalized elements surrounding Frank Lucas' relationship with Bumpy Johnson and his involvement in the Golden Triangle heroin connection as its mastermind. Frank Lucas also did not serve as Bumpy Johnson's driver for 15 years and his wife was not a former Miss Puerto Rico. The movie also seems to miss one crucial detail about Lucas' story. He and his wife Julie had a daughter, Francine. A pivotal scene in Ritchie's narrative comes when he admits he has failed as a father after his custody battle with his wife reaches its end. In real life, Ritchie and his wife did not even have a child together, making American Gangster's portrayal of the custody battle completely fictional.